What's going on, gamers? We're back again with another standing up video. This is the Clone High review that you guys voted for. Season 2 of Clone High, the reboot, which is technically Season 3 of Clone High in general. But yeah, before we get started with this video, I stopped doing the subscriber statistic thing because it was kind of dumb. Didn't really work that much. But if you want to subscribe, go ahead. You can if you want to. But this is going to be like just another video of me rambling. Isn't that my entire YouTube channel? But anyways, Clone High Season 3 came out in like the beginning of February, which no one told me about. I found out from TikTok after like 2 weeks of it being out, which is really strange because, you would think for a new season of their new reboot, they would promote it a little bit more, but they didn't. I saw no ads for it, like, at all. Not on HBO Max while I was watching it, not on TikTok, not on YouTube, not on anything, which I thought was kind of weird. Because why would you not promote that? You've put so much work into it. They promoted the hell out of the reboot, the first season of the reboot, but they didn't say a word about the second season. That's another one of my gripes that I had to say about that. But yeah, besides just the marketing for the season, right? I just think that, it's just kind of weird how they've just, you know what I'm saying? Just the marketing behind it just really fucked with me. I don't know why. Because I feel like they're trying to push it out the door again. Because, I mean, it only took, what, 20 years for Clone High reboot to come out, which was rumored for, like, what, 3 years before it came out? I don't know. I just really hope that they're not trying to push the thing out the door, because it really can be a pretty good show. I mean, we've had multiple chances with it. They gave it 3 seasons, I think at this point we can safely determine that Clone High is going to be a success and will stay relevant. But now let's talk about some of the episodes. Now, obviously, like every other season has 10 episodes, and the thing for me, except for the last episode, which was kind of good, none of them really stuck out to me. None of them really at all were like, wow, this was really funny, or wow, this plot was really interesting, or wow, I was really engaged with these characters. Which the characters is a whole nother story. We'll get to that in a moment. But it's just, what I'm saying? Just the episodes. The first one, introduced a couple new clones. Introduced Toussaint Louverture, I think is his name. I know the first name. I just forget the last name. He's a Haitian general, right? And the guy that pretty much led the slaver revolt in Haiti that granted Haiti its independence. And, I would expect him to be a way cooler character, because, that's a pretty badass person in history. But he's just not that. He dresses more like a normal teenager now, I guess. Like an artsy-fartsy kind of one. But, I mean, still, he has, like, red hair, and he's like, those kicks he has on are awful. Absolutely horrendous. Take those things off immediately. Burn them. Because they're awful looking. But then, let's talk about episode 1 a little bit. Right, so screw the main plot, it's usually just dumb hijinks, shenanigans, parroting some stupid bullshit that we all know. We know about that, right? And so to recap, Confucius and Harriet Tubman are dating. Really weird sentence to say out loud without context, but they're dating, they're fucking and whatnot. And Confucius, he's a big old dork, and he's shaped like an egg, which I think is really funny. But who doesn't love a dork? But Harriet Tubman is like, wow, this new Toussaint guy, he's so fine, guys. And he's on screen for like 5 seconds at this point, and she's like, oh my gosh, this guy is so fine, literally dripping everywhere. I don't understand that at all. What the flip? He just got here. This man has not been on screen since now. Since now, he is a brand new character. You've never seen him before in your life. Why are you thirsting over this guy you literally just met? And then, he's all suave and cool and stuff because, of course, someone with the name Toussaint has to be cool. And then they have, like, the most graphic, like, sex kind of scene ever after they, like, do some shenanigans with the main plot and whatnot. And that's just really weird to me because why is that a thing? Like, I get it's a parody show of, like, teen shows, but that I don't recall ever one of the characters ever wearing a strap-on or a leather suit like that as a teen show. I don't recall that in Riverdale. But yeah, oh my gosh, Harriet Tubman eye cheated on Confucius with Toussaint Louverture. Yeah, these are really weird sentences when talking about the show. That was that was episode 1. Season 2, I really don't remember, if I'm being quite honest. That's what I'm saying. None of these episodes really stuck out to me. I barely remember what the fuck happened because I watched both of those first episodes twice to make sure I knew what was going on. I only remember what was happening in the first one. But what I do know is that Confucius, or Harriet Tubman eventually breaks up with Confucius and is like, I'm dating Toussaint now because I cheated and I feel real bad. And he's like, no, my girlfriend. And then so he's like, hey, Joan of Arc, you want to pretend to date and make them jealous? And then she's like, sure. And then they pretend to date, but they actually like each other. Oh my gosh. And then Harriet Tubman's like, oh my gosh, I like Confucius again, Toussaint. And he's like, yeah, whatever, I don't care. And then is never shown on screen with a speaking role again after that episode, which I'm pretty sure is like halfway through the season. And so then she's like, Confucius, I still love you. Oh my gosh, let's date again. And Confucius is like, but I like Joan. But he doesn't say that out, right? And then they have a whole episode where they go on like a ski retreat with all the main cast and stuff. And then they're like, oh my gosh, me and Joan are dating now. Sorry, Harriet Tubman. And Harriet Tubman's all pissed off and causes an avalanche. Like I'm saying, the plots for these aren't really that good, if I'm being quite honest. None of them are really, breaking the barriers of Clone High, the show. Mr. B continues to be like the best character in the show because he's really the only tolerable one. And another thing I want to bring up is the fact that the writers seem to just swap the characters' personalities around all the fucking time. Like, that seems to be a continuous thing that happens. They did that with JFK, where he was like, halfway through the season, he's like, I'm a born-again Christian, guys. I am no longer going to be sexing around that much. And then he just immediately flip-flops. Like, I guess that could be considered character development, but it's not interesting character development at all. Like, at the end of the show, at the end of the season, he just gets no bitches. Like, that's character development? He just gets no hoes now. That's, like, compare Zuko's arc with, Zuko from Avatar: The Last Airbender, by the way. Compare Zuko's arc with JFK's arc in Season 3. I'm not sure which one's better, if I'm being quite honest. Hold on, let me get my water over here. Delicious. Alright, anyways, but yeah, you know what I'm saying? It's just, number one, it's either really bad, it's either bad writing, which I can't determine which it is, bad writing, or just really bad character development, or just, inconsistencies in the plot. Abe Lincoln, we all know Abe's holeless. He has no bitches. Constant virgin. Apparently Genghis Khan's not a virgin, which, I mean, take a look at that guy. Who wouldn't want that hunk, am I right? But that's like a whole plot point, is that Abe's the only virgin left in school. And then he, he dates some girl, and that girl turns out to be like a sex demon and tries to screw him, which originally I thought was like Mary Todd Lincoln, because her name is Mary. And, that would be cool if his actual real-life wife was in the show and, was doing that stuff. But no, she just turned out to be a stupid little character from that one episode in Season 2 where the girls had a sleepover and let out Bloody Mary into the world. Speaking of Frida Kahlo, her and Cleopatra in this season are very stagnant characters because it's the last season, they started dating, but that's all they do in Season 3, pretty much. Up until, the last episodes, all they do is just date and, do the sex and whatnot. Up until, one episode where they finally get an episode to themselves. And, they have to deal with... That was the one interesting episode, I think. The one that had an interesting plot point, but that wasn't even the main plot point. You know what I'm saying? It was the one episode that had an interesting plot point. And then they just go screw it up, and then they break up at the end of it. Which is tragic, because I told me and my girlfriend, we were watching it together, and we were like, hey, if they break up, we're killing ourselves. We're turning off the show, because at this point, everyone flip-flops between relationships so often. Once they break up, it's just not, there's no point in watching it anymore. And they did, and we almost turned the TV off, if I'm quite honest. But we finished it because I wanted to write this video, or not even write it, I'm freeballing it here. I wanted to do this video, and she was like, alright, sure, we'll watch the rest of it. And speaking on the thing I just said about them flip-flopping between relationships, I understand that it's a parody show and that teenagers flip-flop between relationships a good bit. But, oh my goodness, literally, it's so aggravating because you can do that plot point once, right? Once or twice, right? Because that's what teenagers do. That's just a normal teenage thing. If you do that every single fucking episode, it is not that interesting anymore. That's just an objective fact. If you do one thing for the entire show, one episode after the other, after the other, after the other, it's just not interesting anymore. It doesn't matter what fucking concept it is. If you do it a bunch of times, it's not going to be interesting at this point. And that goes for flip-flopping between relationships, because literally... Alright, let's count it out. Oh, excuse me, 1 second. But let's count it out, right? Alright, Season 2. Harriet Tubman... Well, alright, Season 2. JFK and Joan are dating at the beginning of it, like how they were at the end of Season 1. Right? They break up. They break up eventually, after like a minute, you know? JFK and Harriet Tubman start dating. They don't like each other that much. They stop dating. Frida Kahlo and Cleopatra start dating. Cool. At the end of it, Confucius and Harriet Tubman start dating. Okay. And then, literally... Alright, so... Confucius and Harriet Tubman, like I explained earlier, don't no longer like each other, you know. Harriet Tubman dates Toussaint. Confucius dates Joan. Harriet Tubman finds out about that, breaks up with Toussaint. Harriet Tubman and... or not... Damn, I'm getting mixed up. Frida Kahlo and Cleopatra stop dating because, you know, parent shenanigans and whatnot. Abe Lincoln starts dating this random Mary girl who I thought was going to be like a new main character. Isn't. Joan lets on that she might have feelings for Abe still, which is literally a Season 1 plot point. This was over and done with Season 1, Episode 10. Literally, I just don't understand it. Because all the main characters at this point have dated. Abe and Cleopatra have dated. Wait a damn minute. I just had a realization. Because that's just not true that Abe Lincoln is a virgin, is it? I might fact check this myself, but I could have sworn that Cleopatra and Abe did it in the first season. I might be wrong. They might have just kissed or something. But I could have sworn up and down that they did it. I could have sworn that. I'll fact check after I'm done editing this video, but I could have sworn that was the case. Alright, but... So Abe and Cleopatra date, right? Cleopatra and JFK dated. JFK and Joan dated. Cleopatra and Frida Kahlo dated. Confucius and Joan dated. Confucius and Harriet Tubman dated. Harriet Tubman dated JFK. I don't know what the fuck's happening with Topher Bus. Yeah, that's just really my problem, is that they just flip-flop between relationships so fucking often, and it's not that interesting of a plot point anymore. After the 5th time, it's not that interesting. I might have just messed with the mic. But, and, you know, like I said with Toussaint, how after him and Harriet Tubman, the main character, start dating, completely gone, never had a speaking role again. And that's what I wanted to mention, because the side characters in this show, right, can be the most interesting people. Julius Caesar, Jesus Christ, Topher Bus, funniest motherfucker in the 2nd season, only funny character in the 2nd season. Nostradamus, Attila the Hun, Vlad the Impaler, Lizzie Borden, Jackie the Ripper, which is Ivan the Terrible. Literally, these characters have so much potential. You could just do an entire episode with just the side characters, because they're historical figures. The reason that they are characters in the first place is because they're interesting historical figures, right? But literally, they never come on screen unless they have something to do with the main character. That pisses me off just so much, because I can name multiple TV shows that have just like multiple episodes dedicated to side characters. Avatar: The Last Airbender. I'm sure Adventure Time, literally long-ass show. I'm sure they have moments dedicated to side characters. I'm sure of it. Literally every other show, animated or not, has episodes dedicated to side characters. Not so in Clone High, no siree. The writers have to get in their stupid fucking teenage flip-flopping relationships fill in there. You have 10 episodes, right? You can do something different. Like Topher Bus, I said earlier, only funny person in the 2nd season. Literally no one else made me laugh except for that guy. Because he's a stupid incel, you know? He's a modern-day incel. And that's just funny. It's funny because he gets shit on so much. Right? But in the 2nd season, he's just relegated to a fucking secondary character. Not even that. Tertiary. Because most of the fucking background characters are tertiary characters. They never appear on screen. literally they are background character coded. Like if you look at any of them, background character coded. The only ones that aren't are like Sacagawea, Topher Bus, the Bleacher Creatures, who are in like 3 episodes, and like Toussaint. And like I said, half of those characters had something to do with the main characters, and they had a speaking role. And Nostradamus too, don't forget him. Had speaking roles, but only in moments when they had something to do with a main character. That just bewilders me, because you can do so much. They are historical figures, and they're interesting for a reason. You know, wacky hijinks will ensue when there's teenage historical figures in a high school together. But if you only do shit with the same, like, 8 characters that you have, things are going to get stale pretty fast, you know? And it just... I don't know, man. It just made me really mad, because they didn't use Topher Bus at all. The only time he had a speaking role was to interact with Joan of Arc, and whenever she was, like, an outcast still, because she tried to kill everybody last season. And Ivan the Terrible, you know, Vlad the Impaler. They didn't even name him. They named every other person except for Vlad, which I feel really bad for him. And Van Gogh, like, Van Gogh has a couple speaking roles, but only when he has something funny to say, or like he gets shit on by Cleopatra. And it really bugs me, because why? I don't get it. I really don't. You can do so many interesting things with these side characters. Please just do something with them, Phil Lord, or whatever the hell your name is. But those are some of the gripes I had with them, and also the fact that the main characters themselves don't act in character. I don't know if I mentioned this already, but I'm just going to go on another spiel again. They don't act like themselves. Like JFK, manly himbo who makes sex puns and does the sex. That's his personality, right? But it doesn't have to be. You know, he can develop his character, like I said, like he did in this season. He became a born again, you know, Christian, I guess, and then completely gave that up in like the next episode, but got no bitches, so he's still a virgin. Like, yeah, I guess that's character development, right? He gets no hoes at this point, just like Abe. But why though? You know, he was funny making sex puns and, you know, being Ira. He doesn't do Ira anymore. That pisses me off so much. Joan of Arc, loser indie girl who's goth, you know, and has two friends. One of them is in a freezer, and the other one is fucking too many hoes, and she likes her best friend. You know, classic dynamic. Starts dating the jock guy, right? You know, you think she's coming out of her shell. She's going to be, you know, same person, but a little less timid, you know, socializing more. Not so, bitch. Not so. Because she completely drops the indie girl routine. She completely drops the, you know, I'm shy and timid routine. And just straight makes like 15 new friends. And gets in everyone's business. Like, I know, like, loser kids, they get in everyone's business. But that's just not what you had to do with Joan, right? She doesn't act like a loser anymore. Only when she attempts to murder everyone does she turn into a loser, which I think is crazy. Like, I get it. The main point of her not being a loser anymore is because it's 2023 that the show takes place, and you know, things are different now. Not indie girls aren't losers anymore, and Cleopatra is kind of a loser. But they never point that out, because they accept Cleopatra into their friend group you know, at some point. Like, and she's not this sassy, you know, like that girl anymore. She's you know, she's dating a girl. She's kind of a loser again, but you know, still fits in with the crowd. I mean, yeah, I guess I could live with that, right? Frida Kahlo, Cleopatra, I could live with that. They're not the worst characters on earth. They're tolerable, right? But just Abe, he does like cool shit like 5 times in the news. He doesn't do cool shit. I'm literally built like Abe, right? I'm not capable of doing a cool thing ever with my body, you know, like dunking on people. You never could do that. Throwing an axe at a, you know, and doing like some cool kickflip on a, what's the Disney ride I'm thinking of? The log ride that, you know, splashes water on you. He does that shit and like does a kickflip off of it or something. I could never do a cool thing like that in my life, and he certainly can't. And, you know, he's kind of the same, but he's just not nearly as funny anymore. Gandhi. I miss Gandhi so much, dude. I miss him dearly. Like, I don't understand who was mad at... What Indians were mad about their depiction of Mahatma Gandhi, because I certainly am not mad about the depiction of Abe Lincoln. I don't care that much. Like, I get he's a very important person over there. He won India their freedom, but I'm not gonna sit here and cry my fucking eyes out and threaten to go on a fasting, threaten to go on a hunger strike to MTV because they depicted my historical leader in a negative light. George Washington owned slaves, all right? He was kind of a jackass, but he founded the country. That was a good thing he did. And he also did bad things. Mahatma Gandhi slept with a 13-year-old. He also did good things. He did bad things. That's what humans do. They lived in different times as us, They did fucking weird things, Oh well. But I miss him dearly, and I wish he'd come back. Because these new characters just aren't cutting it. Confucius is a dork. He's a rich dork. He's clueless. He doesn't know what's going on. But I don't know. These characters just don't fulfill me. They're not funny. Never funny. Except for the one time JFK mentioned the young Sheldon, which is funny. I don't know, man. Maybe I just don't like Clone High in general. Maybe I'm just being a douchebag to the show because I just don't like the premise. Is this what it was going to be like 20 years ago? Because if so, I don't think I would have wanted to wait around and have this show, come out. Maybe I just don't like the show. Maybe that's what I'm thinking? Because I was sitting here so excited for the reboot, and I guess I just don't like the show. I really hope they bring back Gandhi next season because I'm really fed up with this shit. But all in all, on my ZOOMBINI scale, I give this show I give this season like a 5 out of 10. Last season, I didn't make a video on it, but I wanted to. I gave that one like a 6. So they're really not impressing me. The first season was like an 8, if I'm being quite honest, because it was funny, snappy, kind of I'm literally Abe. I'm such a fucking dork. And, I like that part of the show. But it just really fell off, if I'm being quite honest. Let's hope Season 4 they can redeem themselves in like a year time. But anyways, guys, I wasn't hoping for this to be super long. It's going to be like 20 minutes. I don't know what the fuck I'm saying. I was talking around 12 minutes. But anyways, yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video. Just me rambling again. Make sure you like, subscribe, comment if you want to see more. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, guys, I'll see you all later. Have a good day and God bless. Bye.